Hello, I'm Tony Proctor, enrolled agent with Proctor & Associates Tax and Bookkeeping Service. Here to give you guys some tax tips. I do this out of my passion, but I understand that some people actually do it on their own. So I want to give you guys a few nuggets to chew on. So today we're going to talk about filing statuses. What exactly is a filing status? So there's actually 5 filing statuses. They're single, head of household, married filing jointly, married filing separately, and qualifying widow or widower with dependent child. So our first filing status, single. What is single? Simple as that. Unmarried, divorced, no dependents. It's just you, period. And then our next filing status, head of household. Head of household is you are paying over half the cost of keeping up the home, and there is a dependent. That dependent can be a qualifying child, a parent, relative. There's some tests that you have to go through to make the determination on what exactly is a qualifying person. Our next filing status is married filing joint. Obviously, you must be married, and that could be husband and wife, or it could be a same-sex couple for the federal side of the house. And married filing jointly is usually the most beneficial. Puts you into married tax brackets, makes you eligible for a number of credits. Some of the income thresholds are actually higher than for a single taxpayer. So married filing joint, 2 people are a spouse on the return, not as a dependent. Get a lot of questions, well, we're married, can I claim head of household and claim my spouse as a dependent? No. Legally married on 12/31, last day of the year, your filing status is going to be married filing jointly. Then we have the flip side of that, married filing separately. So you're legally married on 12/31, however you lived apart for the last 6 months of the year. And married filing separately also could be beneficial if one of the spouses has a larger amount of medical bills, or there's some situation where married filing separately may be more beneficial than married filing jointly. If you get into that situation, it's probably best to consult the advice of a professional just to make sure that you're making the best decision. Also, some people want to do married filing separately because one spouse has some prior debts that they're responsible for, and there is a solution for that. It's called an injured spouse allocation, where if one spouse has prior tax or prior obligations, they can actually have their portion of the refund allocated to pay that, and the spouse that is not responsible for those debts will get their portion of the refund. So that there's an option so that you can do married filing jointly, get all the credits, but you won't lose your entire refund to some of those prior debts that your spouse may have had. And then our last filing status is qualifying widow or widower with a dependent child. So one of the spouses passed away, and in the year of death, you can file married filing jointly. However, 2 years after that, if there is a dependent child, you can file qualifying widow or widower with a dependent child. If there is no dependent child and it's beyond that year of death, unfortunately, that taxpayer will have to file as single. So that's today's tip. I know that filing status can be a tricky area of taxes, and so I wanted to provide some insight into that area to kind of help you guys out a little bit. If you have any questions about today's episode, please log on to www.blackgirlinstruct.com, find my profile, and ask your question. And remember, only you can prevent an audit.